Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm Richard Carlton at fmtrain.tv, where every day, regardless of what's going on in the world, we are doing live streams here on the FileMaker platform. Every day, it's a 1-hour broadcast. So today, Nick is starting a conversation. If you come to the FM Training website, live training right here is the default tab should be. Nick is going to be starting day 1 of the robot conversation. So I am a robot. So some sort of robot action is going to be going on. We're hoping it's a pretty deep dive. It's not a surface level robot conversation. If I do a conversation like this, it'll be fairly short. I would cover what you need to know in an hour. This is a deep dive. I think this is a whole lot more robot-y than what is normally done. So Nick is going to be diving into that. So Nick is here. Nick, are you there? Can we?
I'm here.
Confirm? Nick, are you ready to kick this off and get this going? I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to transfer command to you.
Yes.
Commander Hunter, you have the bridge.
Thank you, Captain. Welcome everybody for this 12-day session of a great journey that we have to get together. So, look, we together for a month. Okay, so we're going to go slowly.
That's a lot of Nick. In fact, that could be too much, Nick.
That's too much of me. Okay, that's why I try to be like let's start this as a conversation, right? Not a course. So let's say we are conversing. What are we going to do during this month? So imagine you have tasks, repetitive tasks. Could be, I don't know, go select 2 million records, do things, right? Normally you get a spinning wheel for 2 hours, right? And so that means you yourself or one of your employee is paid to sit on his hand for 2 hours, right? And or to play solitaire or whatever, and but he's not producing. And because you're doing the thing in the clients, in the remote clients, you are in the worst position sometimes to do a repeating task that is heavy, something heavy. My favorite heavy task where I'm using the technique we are going to discover together, it's the importing of records. When you need to import millions and millions of records, and you have multiple people doing it. So let's say you have 5-6 employees, they paid to import records, right? And do things. So you want to import the records, do things, so you have tasks, post-processing, you have plenty of things doing it. So for example, the last time I built that bot stuff, I built it for a company that were doing like importation, doing kind of a post-treatment of data for 5 or 6 hours, and I load down this to 50 minutes, right? So what are we talking about? We're talking about a virtual user that, imagine that you have a Mac or a PC. Imagine you have a client, a machine, with a guy logged in, and the guy you have in front of this computer is just to execute tasks that you asked him to do. You say, okay, run this script, right? And the guy said, okay, I'm running. But you don't want to pay a guy to do that. You want that to be a robot. You want that to be FileMaker itself that is waiting for things to do, and then is executing what you want to do. So to do so, and most of the time what you want to do, you have a server. Let's say you have a server. Let's say you have an office okay? And you have a server, right? Machine. And you have users in the building, and you have users outside the building, right? So imagine that you have a server like this, and directly plugged to the server, like immediately next to the server, in the network, you have a machine dedicated with the robot running, right? So, but the machine is physically really, really close to the server. It's not the server, it's not the server itself, but because the server, FileMaker server, you need to leave it alone, right? But it's a machine connected really close. So for example, for you guys most tech savvy, I had a configuration of a bot. The server had two Ethernet card, two network cards, right? So I had the network and I had the bot. So two Ethernet connection, Ethernet. So one was directly to the bot, directly, like a, one cable, clunk, clunk. And the other one was going to the switch and to the network and then to the internet, okay? So imagine if you are a guy on this on-premises server and you're using the on-premises server, but you are a guy remote, like, with the post-COVID era, you have a lot of people, the other, like me, I'm in Colombia, and let's say the in-premise service is in Fairfield, right? Or in Los Osos. And I want to import data. Let's say I want to import 1 million records. If I do this on my computer, it will take like 7 hours to do that, right? Plus the time of the post-processing and plus. Okay. If I use a bot, so if I say, I am in Colombia, I want to import the records, right? And I said, you, the bots, right? Do it for me, So because you close to the server, so the importation will be like importing locally, right? It is not easy, and it is not, what's the name? Easy, and it's cumbersome to do importation on server, to use import on server. Why? Because we have a problem. So first, the bot is a machine. It's a user. So you need a machine. Can be a physical machine, or in my case, can be a virtual machine. That means I have a virtual instance of Amazon with the server running, and then next in the same instance, right? So in the same
network.
Jacob can sneak in if he wants to explain that to us. Maybe tomorrow if you want to come.
But you have two instances running, two separate instances running?
Yes.
Okay. Ideally, they'll be in the same data center, which is the same, term is same availability zone, which generally will be the same building, probably, or the same, even on the same floor of the building. But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And Jacob has a way to do that, that's very next to the,
That's close to possible. Yeah.
So as close as possible, right? But it cannot be the same machine because
David Angel, yes, the bot is the same local area network as the server. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
But that local area network is a part of the Amazon AWS network that's in a data center somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it won't work well if you have an instance in Ohio and the other one in Stuttgart, Germany. If you do this, it won't work well. You have latency and stuff like that. It would be even worse than doing yourself, right? So no, you need to have, like I said, you have two configurations. The first configuration is the on-premises. So you have the server, the machine, your server, and next to the server, you have the bot. And on the instance, under Amazon, right, you have an Amazon instance with the server, and separate, you have another virtual machine for the bots. It cannot be the same, because we all know that we don't want any FileMaker client running on the FileMaker server for multiple reasons. A FileMaker server, you need to leave it alone.
So the bot could be a virtual PC in the same virtual machine. Okay, so this is where I don't think we have visibility. It's an interesting question. So let me wave my hands here a little bit. So when you buy an EC2 server from Amazon, a virtual server, Amazon has big racks of machines. They don't have little machines. They have big racks of machines, like refrigerator-sized servers, and those are divvied up to run many, many virtual slices simultaneously. In an ideal world, you would be on the same machine, but there's no way. I don't think there's any way of really controlling that. You can ensure that you're on the same network. So it could be one machine, slice of a refrigerator machine. And then remember, these racks are on like shelves that go down a ways, right? I mean, if you look at pictures of Amazon data centers, it's a shelf that goes 50, 80, 100 feet. And it's these 19-inch racks, 19-inch rack, 19-inch rack. And so you're on this spot over here and you're talking to a spot down there. That's the whole point is low latency. Low latency. We talked about latency before. If you're going across the world, you're getting 100 milliseconds, 150 milliseconds from here to India, Mumbai, India, from California to Mumbai, India was 330 milliseconds. That is an eternity that's like Star Trek or Star Wars, and you're across the galaxy and you have no hyperdrive or no warp speed. You're going to spend 60 years getting home on thrusters, right? Basically, right? So that's too damn far. And so you want them close, right, Nick?
Yeah, exactly. So when you are in the same Amazon, those servers and those facilities are so optimized, so you won't see the difference if you have the same machine or two machines left, or if you are the other side of the building, you won't see the difference. Or you need to be the NADSA or something like that, right? So, but FileMaker, you won't see the difference. But it is important that you don't use the same instance to run FileMaker server and the bots, because you kill your server. So you kill yourself. The bot, you want to use the bot to be fast. The bot will kill the server will kill the bot.
So they can't be on the same, what we would consider the same piece, the same Windows or Linux server.
Yeah,
they cannot be on the same server. Now the server might be virtual or it might be real, but they can't be on the same one, because then its attention will be divided. So we're having two I mean, I'm almost sure you understand this. We kind of beat this topic. So moving forward, Nick, what's the next step?
We beat this topic. Okay. So when we have this running, like I said, it's like waiting is like a machine, right? Waiting an order, waiting something to do. On FileMaker, we have one way to do things. We name them scripts, right? So you have one thing, you run the scripts, right? So, but all what I'm talking right now, like a few years ago, it was a piece, a pain in the neck to do that, because we didn't have many of the new features, the new technology that we have today. And the first that came to my mind is perform script by name. Okay, so we have new capability with FileMaker, and we have new techniques, and we have a knowledge, because we learn as I don't like this terminology, but that's how we call ourselves, is a super user. When we do things, we learn. We learn. So we have experience on doing this, right? So the first time I did a bot was in 2005. Okay, so and it was pretty successful. Okay, but it was very difficult. Today is kind of very simpler to do that. So if you want, I can start sharing the screen and
yep.
What I want to see, I want to show you is that, okay, we have two instances here. We have the AWS server, right? And we have the bots. We have two machines here, okay? Two PCs, right? One here is the FileMaker server, you can see it, right? And the other one is the bots, right? PC bot, okay, server bot. So we have two machines here. And so what are we talking about here? So we want, so I'm a client, right? So I'm going to make a demo of what I want to do, you know. I am a FileMaker user connected in Colombia, okay? I'm in Colombia. This machine here, so this, right, is running this window here. It's a PC somewhere. This machine here is a PC, obviously.
Yep.
That's Jacob set up this morning, right? It's a PC here. And it's an Amazon machine, right? It's an Amazon PC. But this, it's running on the same as my server. So this server here, the NIC server, and this is on the same Amazon environment.
Okay.
But here, I have my bots. Here, it's my machine, okay? What I want to do, I want to import 300,000 files, records from an Excel file, right?
Okay.
Normally, when you do this, so let's say I want to import new, you know, I want to do this. So I'm going there. So you can see I have a 27 megabytes Excel spreadsheet, which it's a proof that this is pretty heavy. So what I'm doing here, I cannot say file import from here. I'm not doing this, okay? So that's what we are going to learn during the month. So I'm making a demo now to what we are going to learn during a month.
Okay.
First, I received the client data, you know, so I have my client data. I drag my Excel spreadsheet in a container, right? And then I'm choosing which type of mapping I want. You know, in FileMaker, we have here, let's show the script here. So you have clients. So you have here, you have multiple import scripts. Okay. So you have the opened. It's I call that open because when you select it, it will show the window. Okay. It showed with dialog on, right? With dialog on, it will show the window that open. This is a client one. We have one mapping, you know, the mapping. We have one type of mapping, right? And we have client two, and we have another type of mapping.
Okay.
So because sometimes you have different type of variation of the same Excel file, and we wanted to be able to create as many as we want, right? So here, I'm going to say, I want to execute with this, or the open one. Okay. So let's say I want the client one. So I have 27 megabytes Excel information, and I want to import this. I cannot do file import, because otherwise I will import that from my machine. No, I want to transport the Excel spreadsheet on the bot. The bot will retrieve this guy. So this now is on the container on FileMaker. It was on my machine. It was there. I dragged it into a container, right? I don't know why he's doing this. I dragged it into a container, right? I choose my mapping. I said, okay, I want the mapping to be import client one. And now here what happened. So let's stop. Let's pause the queue. We have a queue. The bot is made out of a queue. We have records, right? So it's a queue. It's a task list, right? Do this, do this, do this, do this. So we say you have a status, we have an error, right? If you have an error or no, we have a script name, which script has been executed by whom, when. And here I have a serial number to remember. Oh, I have a problem with the 305, the number 305 didn't work. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. But I stopped the queue. So the right now, the bot is on pause, right? Is on pause. So here what happened. That is the machine, California, or whatever. I don't know where the machine are in the Amazon. The Amazon facility. This is the Amazon facility.
Well, it says Ohio on it. Is it Ohio?
Yeah, it's Ohio. I think it's Ohio. So this is Ohio. This is the Amazon facility. This is my Mac here.
In Colombia.
In Colombia, with a client, with a client, FileMaker client connected to the host that is in Ohio.
Yep.
So I launch this. I click here. It says, not a problem. So I'm sharing my screen. Each time I'm doing this, it starts to be slow. So I said, when I don't share my screen, it waits faster than this. So I'm clicking there. I don't know why it's so slow, by the way, but it's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Normally it's instant, right? So I don't know what happened. So it's very slow. So I'm opening also launching the queue. Mm-hmm. Bam. That means now if I go there, I have a third record that I didn't have before. Mm-hmm. I have one record now, and it's pending. Mm-hmm. Launched at 3:33, which is funny. It's an angel number. By admin, that means me. And that is the name of the script I want to launch. I want to launch the 4130A, right? The launch import file with parameters. And because I do the thing well, we have everything to debug this stuff. We have the parameters, right? We have the application version, the machine ID, the system platform, that the PC, and the system version, right? So we have all information here that I need to make sure that I get control on this. And of course, I have the parameters.
Yeah, parameters.
For debug purpose. Okay, so because we will learn all of this, how we transport all those information, because all of this, the parameter now are a field, right? The name of the script is on the field, so now nothing happened so far. I just ask this guy. So from here, I ask this guy, execute this.
Yeah.
So now I'm executing. So I'm resuming the queue. I mean, let's run it. Let's run. Okay. So now the queue is running.
Eventually it'll be completed eventually, right?
Yeah, bam. Yeah. So now I'm executing the scripts. The script says import client data, right? So it's going to analyze the XLS file that will take some time. And then it will start to import, the import, FileMaker import, like, like this, it do, okay. Now it do the import. My FileMaker here is totally available.
Yeah.
I can click, I can even do developments.
I'm waiting for the question. Someone's going to ask the question. Ask the question. I can see it coming. Come on. David, is that you? Come on. Give me the question. Well, the point is that his client is still available and it's not tied up. And so the robot's busy. So what's the question? Come on, David. You could run into record locking and things like that. I'm sure Nick is going to cover that. But yeah, if you're importing, it's not really a problem because it's new records.
Yes.
But if you're editing records, then you have to be mindful that you might run into someone, right?
We are going to explain that. I'm going to explain that, how you lock the entire concept, how you lock this, you know, because, okay, normally on that version, it should have say here what it's doing. Normally I have a return of information. Normally it should have say what it's doing. It, you know, it's because in that version I had a bug because, okay, I'm going to redo it anyway. I'm going to redo it because in that version is the very, very early version. That's why I had the right to show it, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We have for that customer, we had a version much more advanced than this.
Yeah.
But for the demo, it was sufficient.
Yeah. Really, how do we know the user's done? Nick, why don't you cover that question and answer?
Yeah. So I'm going to. That's what I want.
Because normally the user is not going to see this, right? Right.
No.
Now, right?
No.
Yeah.
That the admin guy, we see that. I have a pretty advanced. So now he said 400,000.
See, that's changing now, right? Yeah.
So because I'm using the technique I demonstrated yesterday, right? The remote auto entry calculation. But I'm going to look. I'm going here, right?
So the robot's done.
The robot's done, but it doesn't mean it's done. The robot. So now I have 600,000. Okay, which was the 301 by 2. Okay, so but it's doing something here. Still doing something, right? So I can show that if I go to Safari and I type Nick here, I'm going to my server, okay, and and I'm showing database is doing this. So I'm running a pieces here, right? But I'm showing you this. But I don't want to overwhelm you right now because this.
Well, you're running the risk of that because that was going to be the question: is why use the robot and not use PSOS? And it seems to be that the answer is that you're using both, right?
Yeah, I'm using both. Yeah, because you cannot import Excel files from server, and you cannot export a container on server. So you cannot do what I've done here, which is go there, add a new file, right? Select the file here, drag it there, and send to the server because you cannot.
Yeah, it's sandboxing. It's a security. Yeah. Basically, for those of you who, if you don't know what sandboxing is, the idea is that if you're an app, like Claris can write into its own directories, but Claris is not authorized to write into like a Microsoft Word directory, say Microsoft. Yeah. And Microsoft can't write into this. So one of the areas that they try to, for security purposes, is export import on server, right?
Yeah. So we cannot do that. So we cannot export. We cannot run. Okay, to be clear, to be very clear, we cannot run this. Actually, I have a good technique for you. What can we do on server? You go there, and you say what I can do on server. Can I export field contents? No, it's grayed out. On server, I cannot do this.
What about a general export? That's export field content. What about the basic export?
Okay, export we can, but it will be half grayed out. Because we cannot have the dialogue. Okay. So this is a good
technique. I see. Export the field content is how you get the spreadsheet out of the container. Got it.
Yes. I have my file I received from my email from my client, and I want to send to the server, but I don't want a Dropbox and what. I don't want an API. I don't want all this, right? Just overcomplicated. No, I open a window, right? I open a FileMaker Casa window. I'm dragging this inside a container. I said I want this. And I send the file to the bot and deal with it, right? So pretty much using the bot, you have all the advantage of a server of PSOS without inconvenience. You know why? Something I didn't show you, but you have this available, the debugger available. So you understand now. You have, with the bot, you have the advantage of pretty much executing something on server without the inconvenience of executing on server. You have perfect control because you see visually, you know what happened. And you have the debugger.
Can I add one more?
Yeah.
So if someone would ask me the question, I would say two things. One is that, why do this over here on a separate, so if you have your server and you have a separate robot, so this is your like your FMS, this is your, I'll just call it robot, right? Why not use PSauce over here? The PSauce, two things. One, you don't have the interface. You can never really see what it's doing. You don't have good visibility. The other thing is that PSauce, if you run a long script, you always run the risk of it crashing or having a problem, and you run the risk of taking down the FileMaker server, or at least having your server administrator person like Jacob or whoever that is say, oh, we have to restart the server in the middle of the day and kick everyone out. So goal is to protect the server, number one, protect people, protect the databases, but then you have a lot to do. So if you have a PSauce that said takes a minute or 60 seconds or 50 seconds, that script that takes that long, then maybe PSauce does it for you. But if I have some scripts that take 35 or 45 minutes in the middle of the night, RCC uses this. Now, to be very clear, mine doesn't look anywhere near as nice as Nick's does. This is very pretty. This is very nice, okay? Mine looks like, okay? That being said, it does its job, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we have the interface here, and if the robot crashes, that's one thing. If the server crashes, that's a whole lot bigger problem.
So let me reset this for you, and I want to put it in the way it should have been. I want to delete all of those and restart from the demo that it should have been done. Okay, so now. You remember, see, for example, I deleted from the table, and now it doesn't say, it should have said 0. But if I go there, I just change this, made 7, boom. So I changed the trigger, the auto entry calculation trigger, and boom. Okay. So now it says 0. So let's do it again, okay? Because I want to answer the question about the feedback, okay? We call that feedback. When you do something, you want some feedback, right? So let's say I'm doing this. I'm adding the original file, and I'm going there, and I say, I open my folder, and I say, okay, I want that file, right? So I'm going to send the file, because I have a good internet, by the way, So, and I'm saying, okay, client 1, and I'm doing this. So the bot is going to execute this, but look what happened now. So when this is happening, so the bot is going to listen, So I'm going to teach you the terminology of all this world of bots, The bot is listening, the bot is responding. So now it should, if it doesn't, that means I have another problem, but it's okay. It should have, this should be orange, and says launch queue. I don't know why this is not doing it, but okay, it should have. It's not doing it right now. Okay, now it's doing. This should have turned orange. I have a return, so let me show you how it should have done. This should be a way. I have this normally running. So I don't know why this is not, I have processing. And I have another one, say, in progress. You have many ways to return the information. My favorite one to return the information that the bot is done, my favorite one when this is done is the email. You receive an email, say, hey, this is done. You receive an email because you have a notification and you have a track, right? You have a trace of what you've done. So you have this task done, this task done, this task done, right? And you have an email, right? And if you do the thing right, you can even go click on the email and you go straight to the records. If you do the thing right, right? The email is good. The notification, it's a little bit too much, but the email is great. So you have the bot. When this done, the bot sending the email to you. So why I'm doing this for the importation? The importation on FileMaker server, on server, on PSOS, when you import on PSOS, you have a lot of limitation. But that's why we want to be the bots to be under as close as the server as possible. Because when you import this importation here, if I do the same on this machine, it will be like, at that point, it will be like like a little bit of green here, right? Here we go like 5 times faster than I'm doing here, right? So that's why it's better to do that technique here for the importation, obviously for the importation, but any type of thing you do, you want to replace data, you want to do something like this, you want to treat data, you want to export, for example, right? Because sometimes you can use a bot for exportation because you export, because when you, let me explain. When we use a bot, it's like a user using FileMaker. So you have nothing special. So that means we can export data, right? We can say the path, for example, we can say the path here. We can say file prefix. So this is a custom function of mine, and get temporary path, right? And, right, whatever name of the file, CSV, for example. So you have this. So you have file, this, for example, we return this. So you will get that, but normally you should have it for a long time, but I'm going to give it to you. We have a watch here, and we have the plus. This is what it's doing. So file Macintosh, blah 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 blah, and you have the save, where you're going to save it, but also where you're going to retrieve the information. For example, if you have a bot, here I have a bot that export the content, right, and import so I'm using the path twice, the same path to export the content. I'm exporting to the temporary folder, and I'm importing from the temporary folder. So I'm using this, right? This here, I'm putting path here, right? And here, the exports, right? I'm exporting here to path. So I have both the same. So I'm exporting from where I'm importing. So I'm going to export that stuff. I'll export the container. I'm exporting the Excel file. I'm importing the data, right, from the Excel file using the same path. So that's why I'm using that technique, because you're sure that you export and import from the same type of path, right? So that was for the introduction. Okay. So tomorrow and this week we are going to start to analyze what we need to learn, what we need to use here, because we have a lot of going on here. We have a lot. How to import multiple, having multiple import mapping, and get this menu, So how we can send, or we are going to discover how we'll send order to the bots, how we transform information like this script and stuff like that into a record here, right? And how this works. So we are going to dissect how everything works, right? So we're going to open the hood and look inside, right? So to that tomorrow. So if we don't have any question, I'm ready to close. Close the shop.
Desktop.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.